Okay, so we know how to felt two ends together when we're joining. Now I'm going to show you how to felt your ends on a finished blanket. So what I've done is I've woven in my ends a little bit, just about an inch, and I've put them so that they end up in different spots, because when we felt the wool with our handy dandy felting needle, it does harden up the wool just a little bit, and so we don't want to have sort of lumps where it goes. So I've woven the one end and trimmed it here so that it's sticking out about an inch, and I'm going to felt this into the piece. And then I've woven the second end because I used 2 strands for this blanket, and put them to the edge, and we're going to felt this edge in and then trim it after the fact. I like to work close to the corner of my work on the back of my work. And it's really just as simple as finding a good spot for the yarn to sit where it's going to blend. So for me, I'm just going to tuck it underneath here, and then we are just going to start to poke, right? So all we want to do is just poke it enough so that the fibers fuse together. As you can see, when you're felting, you get these holes in the wool and they start to harden. So we don't want to overdo it with our finished product because we don't want to ruin the look of it. So we're literally talking about seconds and just a few stabs. With a finished product, what you want to do is change your angles quite often to really put the finesse of shaping your wool the way you want it to shape. So we started off with this sort of 1-inch end sticking up, and now, as you can see, we've fused this other end in, and it blends quite well into the piece. So sometimes I'll take another stitch and just put it over top and work it in so that during the fusing process we're fusing several different ends together. But I try not to get too excited about it and overdo it so that we don't have this big ugly end. So here you go. Right, there it is, and you can't see the end anymore, it's hidden. So now this one, I've woven it out so that it's coming out between a stitch. So we actually have 2 strands here and 2 strands here, and here it is sticking out. So all I'm going to do is position them and start poking through them. Now because we've got wool on either side of this, we can go a little bit quicker, because the fusing process is happening on top of the end and underneath the end. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll get it started, and then I'll take my scissors and just trim it. So this is all the waste we have, instead of almost a yard that you might leave behind to weave. Now where did she go? All right, so there it is. So now that I've got it started, I'm just going to start to work this end into the piece so that it doesn't stick out at all. There you go. Now, like I said, we're not overdoing it because we don't want to change the look of the wool, and we don't want to fuse our stitches together too much. We don't want it to be obvious. So I'll flip it and go from different angles. There we go. Our end is woven and it's not going to pop out.